Welcome to the show, everyone. You know, I said this before many times. I love my show. And I saw it off with it, and everybody's like, oh my God, Carrie, you say that all the time, but I do. And the reason why is because it's such great information. That's all it is here for people that are listening. Maybe it's you or someone that you know that you can tell them about this. I want to bring on, I have to tell you that I don't know if anybody know this, but there's actually a Woman Changing the World Global Award that goes on. And I guess behind the scenes in America, or the world. And I have sitting next to me Karen Rosner, and she happens to be nominated for Women of the Year. Now, first of all, I want you to get up right up on that mic, okay? The name of your business is KMR, Personal Finance Services. Financial Services.
Coaching services.
She is a coach. Now, originally when you were coming on, you helped people with their being in debt, right? And you still can do that.
I do, yes.
But you've changed over
yes.
to helping people with their medical debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everybody to listen up. Because number one, congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
And not only, this is a success story, ladies and gentlemen, not only from what we're hearing right now, but from the moment you were born.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's true.
And I want to just talk a little bit about that and how you help people, because more people have medical debt, which makes them in debt with everything anyway, that you can literally help them get out of, and fast. So let's talk a little bit about you.
All right, a little bit about me. I'm Karen Rosner. I was born and raised in Massachusetts with 6 brothers and a sister. So my brothers were older than us. So it was kind of hard dating when we were kids, when we were teenagers, my sister and I. But I was born with a very serious heart condition. And the doctors told my parents that I may not live to see my first birthday. And, well, I saw my 61st birthday last September, so I outlived that one. And I've had several open heart surgeries. I've had strokes. I had pacemakers, defibrillators, the whole 9 yards. And then and it started at 9 weeks old. And then I had my transplant. And almost 19 years ago, in April it would be 19 years that I had my transplant. So, my dad calls me his $1 million child because of all the expenses I cost him for my surgeries. But when I'm a social worker also, I've been a social worker for 37 years. I love my career, and I've been helping people get out of debt even before I started my business. I was been with my my clients.
What's really great about you is the experience that you bring, because you know everything to say, and
Yes.
look up, and
Yes.
you fight. Let me just tell you about this spitfire of a woman, and she's a tiny little thing that we have sitting here. She will go to the furthest extent to get your medical or any kind of debt that you have, to get it wiped out.
And that's what I do. And with medical debt, I always say, and kiddingly, that I like fighting with the insurance companies, but actually I do. So, but
it's an art.
Yes, but actually I advocate for you, and I advocate for my clients. And so, and I have clients. I have a client that she had a $6,300 ambulance ride, and this is in California. She's a veteran, and she's only at 64% disabled, and the VA would not cover that expense, the ambulance ride. So I called the company. They told me that they'll call me back in a couple hours, and they did. Actually, I was so surprised. And we worked out a deal. They wrote off one of her bills, and then the other bill, they brought it down to Medi-Cal, which is California's Medicaid. And that $6,300 bill went down to $140.73.
Woohoo! Let me tell you something. Not everybody can do something like that.
No.
The best thing is to have someone like Karen, and I don't think there's many people out there like you that do what you do, honestly.
I don't think so.
No. I mean, maybe in the, just in your financial regular bills, but not when it comes to medical, because of your background, you know the codes, you know what to look for,
I know
and
what
that's
to
what
look
makes
for,
it,
yes.
makes you different, right there.
Yes, and I know what to look for, and I know how the language that it's called, what they're looking for, the terminology, and also I have a new client. He's like, I don't understand. He sent me all his bills, and I went through them, and his stack of bills turned out to be 4 pages after I went through it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working on those, and I got one of them reduced, and right now, and I'm working on the big one. So he's happy with that, with the progress. And I do keep my clients, up to date on my progress with their bills. And it may be slow at first, but and the hiccup about that is I call people and they have to call me back, and then and it's like telephone tag a lot of times. But I don't give up.
No, this
No.
woman does not give up
No.
at all. Now, we're gonna go into the nomination of Woman of
I'm a
the Year.
finalist.
You are a finalist, but here's what I wanna
Yeah.
say. I was gonna say that out of 751 nominations, you're a finalist for your small business.
Yep, for the Small Business Award for
Wow.
the year. And these awards are in London. So they're global awards, so a world. And I will know in April 5th or 6th, depending on when they have the gathering. If it's April 5th, their evening, it'll be April 6th, our day.
Yeah,
So-
but the thing is that when you come back on next time, we're gonna know if you're a Woman of the Year.
Yeah.
But I gotta
My
tell you, so
business.
she's a finalist, and I'm
Yes.
sitting next to her, and what I know about her, and I've gotten to know her very well,
Yes.
that she is a woman that doesn't stop, that will do anything for anybody to help them, especially if you're in debt. And she has a way of working with the companies, I should say it that way, because it just depends on what you've got, of how to get those reduced or wiped out completely.
Yes.
And you're known to do it. Now, her website is yourdebtfreequickly.com. Her phone number is 808-253-1157. If you or you know somebody that is in debt, especially medical debt,
Yes.
have him call and have a free consultation. You do
Yes,
free
I do
consultation.
free consultations, easy for me to say, consultations. And everybody's asking for pricing and everything. I discuss it with the client
Mm-hmm.
because it's not expensive, but I want to help them. And yes, I want to make a little bit of money, but my main goal is to help people
Right.
and to help them get out of debt, and so they can get rid of that debt.
Let me just tell you, that woman was in debt. How much with that?
$6,300.
$6,300 that she got down to $100.
$140.73.
$140.73. Let me just tell you how much you're going to be willing to pay Karen her minimal charge that she
Yeah.
charges compared to what other people charge to get out of debt like that. That is huge. So again, her website is yourdebtfreequickly.com. Her phone number is 808-253-1157. We're going to go to a break, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk further to help people be getting to get out of debt, especially your medical debt, and talk about being Woman of the Year. Excuse me. I got a cough.
Okay. No problem. How are you?
Feeling better.
That's good.
Yeah, it's just like my eyes and nose.
Are you sure it's a cold or is it allergies?
I take allergy medicine. I don't know. It's just like a lingering mucus issue.
Oh.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing really good.
Good.
And I just posted mine on the blue one, the second blue one.
Uh-huh.
I put on my my social media and my Facebook page.
Yay!
Because I like which is the third picture that you sent.
With the,
Yep.
yep,
But
that's the one I like too.
because the other one that's the third, the second picture, same setup, but the wording was so close to my eyes.
Uh-huh.
It looked like it was coming out of my eye. So I got it a little different. So. Yes.
No problem.
Yes. So. You
Sorry.
okay?
Yeah, I just got a tickle.
Yeah. Just water.
I hate that, hate that, hate that. I'm sorry.
No worries. Feeling better? Feeling better?
Yeah, I just have a tickle, bad tickle. It's so dry.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yep.
My shoes soaked. My favorite dress, a disaster. My stress level off the charts. Yet my sink decided to share its water with my wardrobe. Thankfully, Dry Life Restoration got here fast. They dried everything out, fixed the mess, and even made it smell normal again. Disaster strikes. Don't wait. Call Dry Life 24/7 for fast professional restoration services. 480-659.
Carol, does this go down a little bit? Does
Sorry.
this go down a little bit?
Yeah.
There we go. There. There we go.
Yeah, just be on top of it. Even when you turn to me, put your mouth there.
Okay. Okay.
You can move that like that, yeah.
And there we go. That's better.
Better?
Yeah, because I was kind of stretching my neck.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine moves, so it's different.
I'm short. Like you said.
So welcome back, everyone. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us
Hi.
and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. So exciting about what you do, and your whole entire life has been a struggle.
A challenge.
Okay, we'll call it a challenge.
And
To most people, it's a struggle.
for me,
But
it's a
you've
challenge.
just done incredibly with your life, and thank you for your services and
Well,
what
thank
you
you.
do, because
You're
there's a lot of people out there, especially when they're in medical debt, that just put it to the side and say, or I don't even know if you can put medical debt in bankruptcies or things like
You
that.
can.
But
And a lot of people do go to bankruptcy because of the medical debt,
mm-hmm.
because they have so much of it. And a lot of it is because, one, they ignore it, two, it's just a lot, and three, they don't know how to deal with it.
Right.
Some people, I'm not saying all people.
But
some
I
people.
believe that it's very important to not deal with these things on your own. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people get they're emotional all over it.
They are, but you know, if you know what's going on, it's a lot easier. Because I had a patient, you know, and a client, and she comes up and she has access. She's here in Arizona, she has access. And they're charging me $500 for my medical bill, and I'm like, okay.
Access?
Yeah, and then she goes, and I had to pay $25 for my medicine. I'm like, you have access? Can I see your card? And she showed me, and it was valid and everything. So I looked at the bills. I was like, do you have the bills? And she goes, yeah. So I looked at it, and I'm like, give me a minute. And so it took me about 10 minutes. And I called the hospital, and they're like, oh, we didn't put the billing on it.
Oh,
So
thank you.
that $500 went back to her, so she didn't have to pay $500. That medication that she had to pay for, that was refunded to her because they didn't put the medication, and it was covered by Access. So they thought they were going to have to pay this $525. I saved them $525 in 10 minutes.
That's awesome.
So it's just, I know how to read the bills. I know some of the codes, but I know what to look for. in the bill, and I know if you're, I've lost my
It's
train of
okay.
thought. Deducting, and you have the access, and then you have the insurance write-off and stuff like that, then your bill shouldn't be as high.
Well, the other thing is that you know who to call,
Yes,
right? And that's another thing that's very difficult. And I think that when you are a social worker,
yes,
that when you leave the message,
yes.
you know, and I'm calling on behalf of this person, I'm a social worker, Karen Rosner, you know, they're gonna call back.
Sometimes they do, yes, and that's what it
They're calling
is.
back,
And-
Karen.
But, you know, I had a patient, a client that is needing medication, and I'm going through the manufacturing company to get the medication. So because it was very, very expensive, this is like a $3,000 medication that he needed. And the insurance company, the company is like, all right, we'll call him. Next day I'm on the phone. So how's Mr. Smith's medication? And he goes, oh, well, and I'm like, he needs this. You need to expedite this. And what do you need? I'll give it to you. You know, oh, we need this. And finally, the next day, he got the medication.
Wow, wow.
So, and he didn't have to pay for it because I know the programs for the medications that will help with medication costs. Most of the manufacturing companies, you could go through them. And I mean, I even go to the president of companies, and I don't stop. I had a client that had a cell phone bill, and he needed to be in contact with his team, transplant team, and they wouldn't do it. I found an agency that will help pay for his cell phone bill, but it was cash only because he's been behind before. And I called the owner of the cell phone company, or actually I emailed at 10 o'clock. By 1 o'clock, I got an answer. By that day, his medication was paid. His cell phone was back on, so he could communicate with the transplant team.
So many people out there, and I'm sure there are statistics, with being in medical debt is probably the number one debt that people have out there. And it's astronomical. It gets worse and worse because everything goes just sky high. And unfortunately, bad things happen to good people, right?
Yes, and
It
the
can happen to
insurances-
anybody.
And the insurances, if one letter is off or one number is off on the claim, they'll deny it. So, and it's hard for the patient, and we're like, okay, what do you need? All right, and then I will call the billing office and say, oh, it was coding off, it was supposed to be a Z instead of an X, you know, and they're like, okay, and it's paid for.
But you know something, that's a huge thing that happens.
Yes.
And people don't realize it. The best thing to do, she does free consultations, is to call her and talk to her about what's going on with you. That number is 808-253-1157. And her website is yourdebtfreequickly.com. And when we say quickly, we really mean that.
Yeah.
Because you're all about getting it done.
Getting it done, getting the bill taken care of, and you know, people need the money. Everything's going up these days, and medical bills are too, and you know, the expenses are high.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
medications are high.
Now, I want to talk about something that I've known you to talk about before. A lot of people, because the medications are so high, are going out of the country to get their medications. And I heard you one day say, that's not always such a great thing to do. And the answer is because it's not always the same type of medication. It might seem it.
Right, and because even with generic medications, generics are usually 10 to 15% different than the brand name, but they cover, you know what you're getting. And now if you're going out of the country to get the medications, you don't know if it's the same thing. And I would not go out of the country for my medications. I suggest for my clients not to go out of the country for their medications. I can't tell them what to do. I strongly suggest, and then I would have them check the medications with their doctors and let their doctors know that they're going out of the country for the medications. Because you never know what's gonna happen.
Right, especially, like, can you imagine somebody's with a heart transplant, and you've gotta be on a lot of medication, I'm assuming, I mean, I
Well,
could be
in the
wrong.
beginning,
I don't care if it's some or a lot, I mean, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, being that you have a heart transplant, you are watching yourself minute by minute on a daily basis.
oh yes, and
You wanna make sure what you put inside of you is the
Oh,
right
yes.
thing.
Oh, yes, yes. And you have to make sure that it's the right medicine. I remember when I got my transplant, and then it was in 2006. And I was still in North Carolina because I got the transplant in North Carolina. And there was a generic medication coming out for transplants, in every transplant. And my doctor told me, do not get on that medication. Because that medication that they were bringing out was putting people into rejection,
Mm.
and that it was not anything. And so everybody was told not to go on that medication. The FDA had to pull that medication because it was putting people into rejection. And now there's another generic medication for transplant patients, and I'm on that one, and I've been fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you have to always listen to your doctors, especially after a transplant.
And you know what, with things that you hear on this show, something like that is something to think about, where you're getting your medications
Yes.
from and making sure that they're right. And if you are in any medical debt, and it doesn't matter how much, right?
Nope.
Whatever you're in, she wants to help. That's what you're here for on this. You've been put on this world to help people.
Yes.
Just for anyone that tuned in with us before, she is nominated for Woman of the Year. It's Women Changing the World Global Award, and she's here sitting with me, right next to me. I mean, I am so, incredibly proud to have you sitting here with me.
Thank you.
And to have you as my friend as well, to be able to say that you're nominated for this, and not only that, you're a finalist,
I'm a
which
finalist
is even
for this.
better. I have a feeling you're going to win, and if you do, I'm going to be jumping up and down.
I have a feeling. I think my mother's going to make that happen.
I hope so. I think
My
that would
mother is. I lost my mother 5 years ago, and she was always in my corner.
be, and she's
so.
still there.
Yep.
Now, the best thing to do, anybody in any debt, but medical debt is what she focuses on. Her phone number to call is 808-253-1157. YourDebtFreeQuickly.com. Hang tight, we're going to be back in just a minute.